NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here. Bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, we've got a lot to go over in today's episode, so let's dive right in. It's been about a week and a half since my last NetsBoy. I wanted to do an episode prior to the trade deadline, but I never really found the time to do it, nor did I really find the enthusiasm to do it because I kind of knew the Nets weren't going to do anything, right? Like, I think we all knew the Nets weren't going to do anything, and sure enough, they didn't do anything. Sean Marks had made it clear that unless it was going to be beneficial for them long term, that they weren't going to make any real moves with the core of this team right now, because the truth is the core of this team has barely played together, right? Like Dinwiddie, LeVert, and Kyrie is the core this year, and they've played like a combined total 11 games where all three of them are healthy. Not to mention, what is this team really going to be when Kevin Durant comes back next year? So I think it makes a lot of sense. I know there's a lot of trade ideas or some trade rumors, involving Dinwiddie in particular, because a lot of teams are asking about him, especially with like the Lakers and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it just makes sense that the Nets didn't make any moves, and I didn't think they were going to. So I didn't really force myself to find the time to do an episode. I kind of just shrugged and said, you know what, if something happens, like if Nets do make a trade, well then I'll do a video about that. But they didn't. They made no moves during the trade deadline, which is fine by me. This team just needs to play better. And the one thing they did do, though, is they did give Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot a guaranteed contract. So he's no longer a two-way player. He's no longer a 10-day guy. TLC is now officially a full member of the Nets, and he signed not just through this year, but through next year as well, which is a great move by Sean Marks. Look, he deserves it. He's played very well for the Nets. Is he a guy who's going to, move the needle when it comes to making him a championship caliber team? No. But he's another good young player who's playing well, who's getting rewarded for showing what he's capable of doing with the Nets. And, that's what you do. And it's a very small contract. It's nothing major. It's guaranteed as a minimum contract next year. And those contracts are always good to have because those are players that, if the Nets do decide to make a move over the offseason, that's a nice little throw-in contract you can do to make contracts work and so on and so forth. Or it's a quality role player because I think TLC can be a very decent role player and a solid backup guard or small forward. I see that ability from him. So good move by Sean Marks and the Nets. So that's the major move that they made. Like I said, nothing major in the trade market. Actually, nothing at all. And they're basically standing packed. And the truth is, like I said, this team should be better. They're 23-27. They went 5-2 during that stretch of games that I said they couldn't go worse than 6-1, with losses to the Knicks and a really bad loss to the Wizards, in which Kyrie Irving, that's when he hurt his knee, and though he's expected to come back hopefully in the next week or two. We don't know. We'll see, obviously, how he's feeling and what else. But that was bad. The Wizards' loss was bad. The Knicks' loss was bad. The Knicks' loss, though, it just... I can't say it was really that bad of a loss because it was just one of those games that just kind of felt like it just didn't matter. Obviously, that was the game right after... well, actually, not right after, the same day of the news of the terrible helicopter crash that in which Kobe Bryant passed away and his daughter passed away, and then the seven other people that was in that helicopter. That was the same day as the Knicks game, and that game just didn't seem like it mattered at all for anyone, even me as a basketball fan. That's a very sad day. It's a very sad turn of events. I wasn't the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. I'll be the first to tell you that. You all know I'm a huge Vince Carter fan. If anything, Kobe Bryant was like Vince Carter's nemesis because, when they were coming up, it was like Dwayne Wade, Vince Carter, and Kobe Bryant were the three great shooting guards, and so for me, I was always like, rooting against Kobe. But there's nothing but respect, and just complete appreciation for what he meant to the game of basketball as well as the world. Really, he became a global icon, and that whole tragedy, including the loss of his daughter and the seven other people, some other children, it is very upsetting. So I just really feel like that game against the Knicks just did not matter. And yes, the Nets lost, and it was going to count as a loss on their record, but I couldn't be upset about that because I was too busy being upset about everything else. And I feel like that's the way it was for a lot of players. So I give that game a pass. And so I can't hold that loss against the Nets. I can't hold that mindset against anyone. You certainly can't hold against Kyrie not playing in that game. If anything, you feel sorry and you feel for him because he was very close with Kobe Bryant. So unfortunate there. So I kind of excuse that game. So in my mind, I said they had to go 6-1. They went 5-2, but they still kind of went 6-1 because I kind of like almost. That's like the fourth time in these videos I've thrown my pen. I don't know. You gotta stop using my hands. It's the Italian in me. Hands start flying. Anyway, sorry. So in my mind, if you exclude that game, they did only lose one game. They went 5-1 if you exclude that game. Like I said, it doesn't matter record-wise, and obviously I don't think Vegas or any of the betting sites are gonna, give me the benefit of the doubt on that one and say no, that game doesn't count. It still counts as a loss. So the Nets went technically 5-2, and look, I said they had to go 6-1. Like I said, I kind of see it that way, but at the end of the day, their 45 wins doesn't look like it's happening. I'm just going to start accepting that at this point. I have to accept that I just donated money to the Disappoint Me Fund. That's the way I have to think of it when it comes to betting on the Nets over, which is okay. That's a fund that unfortunately gets a lot of, financial, payment towards it, the Disappoint Me Fund. But either way, it is a little bit promising, though, to see the Nets looking better and basically beating teams they should have beaten, right? They beat, the Pistons twice, the Bulls, they beat the Suns, and then they destroyed the Warriors. That Wizards loss is the only one that I'm mad about. They were winning the whole game, and then Kyrie goes down, and then it's like all of a sudden no one knew what they were doing again, and they blew a 10-point lead. Like always, it was an old-fashioned Nets debacle, and anyway, they're 23-27, and the reason why I say that 45 win mark seems very unlikely is they can only lose 10 games the rest of the year. They would have to go. The Nets would have to go 19-10 the rest of the year to get to. No, that would be 42 wins. Yeah, not even. They would need to go 23, 22-10. That would do it. Oh my God. Sorry, I had to do quick math real fast. They need to go 22-10 the remainder of the games to get to the 45 win mark, which is certainly not impossible. But when you look at the games they've got coming up, I don't really see the Nets winning more than like 18-ish games the rest of the year, which only puts them at 41 wins. So we'll see what happens. We'll look at the next couple of games, but it is promising that Karis LeVert is playing better. Like his last two games, he's been great. I don't think it's a coincidence though that it happened when Kyrie Irving got hurt. But he's playing well. Taurean Prince has come back and become very good again. He's making lots of shots. Joe Harris is playing well, and he's going to be defending his title in the 3-point contest, as well as Dinwiddie is going to be in the skills challenge. So the team's starting to look good again, starting looking like they did when they were, I believe, 3 games over 500, which I think was the highest they've ever been. They're playing like they were when they were 3 or 4 games over 500. So they're playing better. They're looking like the team that they had earlier in the year, or not earlier in the year, but like it was around late December that's when they were looking pretty good, and then everything just went to hell in a handbasket around January. But so they're looking better, and it looks promising. Like I said, I don't think they're going to get to 45 wins, but at this point, I just want them to beat last year's mark of 42 wins. They were 42-40 last year. I just want them to do better than 42 wins to say that they're an approved team. So that's what I'm hoping for. moving forward. Yeah, there's not much actually more to say. I know there's a lot to talk about. We could talk about the next coming games, which we're about to do, but you know, I do want to say though, like it is not a coincidence. I said it literally like 30 seconds ago that LeVert is playing better in Kyrie's absence. I am going to be honest. I don't think that this three guard set is going to work with the Nets. It didn't really work last year, right? When it was D'Angelo Russell, Dinwiddie, and LeVert, it was always one of those three guys would have to have an off day as the other two scored, right? That's the way it was, and someone has to take a back seat. Never did all three of them play well. And I see the same thing here with the Nets now. With Kyrie Irving, LeVert, and Dinwiddie, 2 of the 3 could have good games, but I don't think all 3 would be able to have a good game because they're all ball-dominant players. They all play more effectively with the ball in their hands, and I just don't see this working out. I don't. And you drop Kevin Durant in the fold next year, you're adding another player who you need to run the offense through. So now you're saying, I think the Nets have to trade one of those 3 guys, which means one of those 2 guys because they're not going to trade Kyrie Irving over the offseason. It's the truth. Whether it's Dinwiddie or LeVert, one of those 2 guys I don't think are going to be on the team next year, and I just don't think it's going to work. Maybe it will. I don't know. But based on what we've seen so far, with the 3 of them, it doesn't work. Now, you can say, but NetsBoy, you said it before. They only played like 11 games together. Maybe they could figure it out. You're right. Maybe they can figure it out. I'm just telling you from my basketball knowledge and what I've seen from them last year and what I've seen this year, I don't really think they're going to. And it's not that the other players, that their games will subtract from each other. I just feel like there's always going to be one guy who's going to be put in the back burner and kind of become not irrelevant, but not as useful. And my whole thing is, if that's going to be the case, why not trade that guy to get another piece that could be a major factor to this team, like another wing player, you know what I mean, like a power forward or so on and so forth. I don't know, something else that could really help this team. So that's what I think. But I do hope, though, that Kyrie Irving comes back sooner rather than later so we can see if this would work, right? If you're Sean Marks, you want to see Kyrie back in the next couple weeks, and then you just want to see this 3-guard set team for the rest of the year stay healthy, and then you can really figure out if this is going to work. Because maybe it will work. Maybe it will work. You say, you know what? This does work. Let's see what happens when we throw Kevin Durant in. But maybe you'll see it won't work, and then you just make that move or decide to make a move later on. Maybe you'll trade both the guys. You never know. I think the Nets could get an amazing package of talent if they were to trade Dinwiddie and LeVert. They could get, I can't even imagine what they could get. For if they put both those guys up in a trade, they could get a major player that could be huge for them. Like, I'm not even going to really go into that because, A, I really don't want that to happen because I like both Dinwiddie and LeVert, but also B, we're talking about something way down the road. So anyway, let's look at the next couple games for the Nets because it's getting, after a nice easy 7-game stretch, they now have a little bit of a harder stretch. Starting with the Raptors on Saturday, a road game. We all know how great the Raptors have been. I'm still not a firm believer of how great they are, but they are. Like, it's hard to deny it at this point. Let me just look at the record. Second best record in the Eastern Conference. It's at the point now where I can't say, like, it's not a fluke. Simple as that. It's not a fluke. So Raptors game, that's most likely a loss. Then they have a road game against the Pacers. Pacers are a team this Nets team can beat. The Pacers are better than them right now, but going into the year, I believe the Nets were at the same level as the Pacers. So my eye says the Nets should have a similar record to the Pacers, which I think is like 31 or 32 wins. Like, that's where I feel like this Nets team should be. So I think the Nets can win that game. Yes, it's a road game, but I think it's winnable. Then they have the Raptors at home, once again. Home game, but probably a loss. Then they have the 76ers in Philly. That's not an easy game. They'll probably lose that one. That we all know the 76ers, are all the rumors going on about the identity of them and all that stuff. So maybe they can pull that one out. But then they have the Hornets, which is a winnable game, and then the Magic, and then the Wizards after that, and then the Hawks. So the next 4 games are going to be tough. Raptors, Pacers, Raptors, Sixers. that's a tough stretch. If they can go 2-2 though, during that stretch of games, they'll be in good shape because then they got the Hornets, Magic, Wizards, Hawks. Those next 4 games are all very much so winnable games and games the Nets should win. So, and if they're able to do that, which means they go 6-2 the next 8 games, which is a major stretch. But if they can do that, that would put them at 500 for the rest of the year. And not 500 for the rest of the year. They put them at 500 for the year. And then maybe they could go on a streak and get over to 45 wins. I don't know, but this is another key stretch. These next 4 games are key. The previous 6 games were key, or 7 games, because they're playing teams that they should have beaten. Now they're playing teams that are better than them, but they're capable of beating if they play well. And so these next 4 games are critical to see what happens. They've got to go to nothing worse than 2-2 if they want to get to 45 wins or to continue to build. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to happen, but they've got to continue to get on this, string some wins together. You know, a 5-2 stretch is good. So now I'm saying they got to go 6-2. And if they continue to go like a 5-2, 6-2, stretch, and they win 7 of the next 10 games, that will be huge for them to climb in the standings and build some confidence for this team. All right, let's wrap up this episode. Let me know what you guys think about everything. If you really felt they should have made a trade at the trade deadline, because like I said, I don't really feel they should have. I think it makes sense of what they did or what they didn't do. Let me know what you think about the last 7 games and the upcoming games coming up. Let me know if you, just whatever you want, whatever's on your mind. Comment below, share, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep your eyes open to the next. I say it so much that sometimes I just screw it up. Keep your eyes open for the next NetsBoy episode. And until then, this is NetsBoy signing off. When the Nets just can't